Hey everyone, welcome to another video. If you're new here, hi, my name is Irit. I'm a watercolor and mixed media artist based in Austria in Europe. And on my channel, I share all my arty adventures. Today's video is a really special and exciting one, probably the most exciting video I've ever filmed. And I want to talk about my book. So yay, I wrote a book and it's been, I can't even call it a labor of love because it was so enjoyable to put down my thoughts, my story, my painting philosophy into this book. So the book is called Watercolor Freedom, Painting Techniques to Unleash Creativity, Joy, and Intuition. And it is a watercolor book with a little bit of mixed media sprinkled in there. First, I'll give you the dry details before I get into the book and a little bit about who this book is for. This is a 8x10 book. That's the size of it. Hopefully it can give you some indication. And it's just shy under 160 pages. You can find the paperback version on Amazon, and then the e-version, if you want to be able to read it on your Kindle app, it is available on Amazon. However, if you're okay with just, a PDF book, I read mine, for example, in the Books app on my iPad. You can find it for a little bit cheaper on my website, the e-book version of it. The reason is that Amazon takes their own cut, and I really wanted to give people as many options, and so I offer it in these two places, but I just wanted to make sure that you know that it's a little bit cheaper on my website, but then you won't be able to read it on the Kindle app, I'm pretty sure. So that's the book. Who is this book for? This book is for anyone who wants to paint with watercolors. Wherever you are in your journey, it starts from the basics, but a little bit different from every other book that I've seen out there. It's more about discovering yourself and what you enjoy in your creative process as you're painting with watercolors, as opposed to, I teach you how to paint a flower, I teach you how to paint a landscape, that sort of thing. So I think I'll just tell you what's in the book and show you a little bit, some sneak peeks, and then you can decide if this is right for you. I really wanted this to be an inspiring, eye candy, open it and then, just feel like you want to immediately go and open your watercolor palette and start painting kind of book. And I hope you will enjoy it. And yeah, I'm super grateful to all of you for being here. Thank you to those of you that have already purchased the book. I did show it first to my lovely dear patrons over on Patreon. I'll just do a little bit, like 2 words about Patreon, a little bit more. I'm doing a very limited run over on Patreon just for 3 months, and I started in October. So now we're in mid-November. December is going to be the last month of this run. I don't know if I'll do this again. I'm sharing almost daily content of videos and blog posts, sharing what I'm doing, what I'm painting, mostly now actually in acrylics and mixed media. And you get basically early access, all kinds of bonuses, and a tons more content if you want to see more of what I'm up to, what I'm painting, that sort of thing. So if you join now, you get access to all the content, including October's, and of course I'm happy to have you there at any point. You can join in December and also again get access to all of the content. And yeah, it's just for a limited time, so if you're interested, come now and join the arty fun. But okay, let's get into the book. So it starts kind of simply with some artwork. There's some of my paintings sprinkled throughout the book. again, to inspire and give you some, you know, color inspiration and also an idea of the style that I paint. If you don't know me, I'm intuitive painter. I paint very loosely, sometimes almost completely abstract, but that's the style that I really enjoy. That's the style that I love. And that's also what I show in the book. So if you're into realism, that sort of thing, look elsewhere. You won't find any realism in my book. So we have the contents, and then I just marked a few pages. The first pages are very dear to me because they kind of share a little bit of my story. I'm self-taught, and I share how I got into watercolors, a little bit about my life before this art chapter of it, a little bit about learning to paint with watercolors and my struggles to kind of find myself in what I consider a pretty traditional world, quite different, I would say, than the acrylic paint world. Seems to be like a lot of rules, a lot of, you don't do that, don't do that, never do that, which I don't respond well to. And so I share a little bit about my story in those first pages. Then I have a section about supplies. And every art book has this kind of section, and I always kind of dread it because I know I'm going to want to buy like lots of stuff, but I did mine differently. I don't actually tell you specific things that I use. I give a few examples later in the book in different ways, but this section actually gives you all of the wisdom that I have gathered from making many mistakes and many unnecessary purchases. So I share kind of my opinion, my philosophy on what you should buy and how you should extend your collection, talk a little bit about paper, also about brushes, but again, the whole idea of this book is to encourage you to find what is right for you, not to tell you you should use this kind of paint with this kind of paper and this kind of brush. That just goes against everything that I'm about when it comes to art. So the next couple of sections are really fun and I feel really unique and kind of, again, give you kind of a peek into my world of color and, you know, kind of my fantasy color stories. And this section is my favorite colors and why I love them. And it has just like eye candy watercolor strips and talking about my favorite colors, how I like to use them and why I like them. Again, this is, the idea here is to make you open this page and go like, oh, I want to go paint now, or see like a color and say, oh, that's the perfect blue, that's the perfect pink, and, you know, maybe hunt down a specific color. And then we start with actually the tutorials, and there's section 1 is getting comfortable with colors. It talks about getting to know your paints, swatching them, mixing them, and just playing around with watercolors, which is what I love to do. And then we have a little bit of artwork. But you can see everything. I wore my special me-made sweater for this announcement. Okay, the next section, probably one of my favorites in this book, and I think the most just like, you know, straightforward, helpful resource one. Again, meant to inspire you because this is not a color mixing book, but I included quite a few pages of color mixes. And my color mixes are those that I couldn't really find in books that were dedicated to color mixes, that had, you know, 1,000 something color mixes, but for some reason didn't include these. So a lot of these are like specialty colors, you know, that separate or granulate. And a lot of these are also complementary colors, which I always love mixing, and I love seeing the kind of surprises that I'm going to get. And so there's quite a few pages of these, again, using like my favorite colors, those that might be, I mean, some are like staples. I have like ultramarine blue, Naples yellow, but then we have a few more special ones. and I just really wanted to show and inspire and kind of show you what watercolors can do, what some of those like extra granulating colors can do, and also of course encourage you to mix your own colors. So there are quite a few pages. I didn't even show all of them here, but I think this is like one of the best things in the book and really, really helpful. The next section of the book, which is kind of the bulk of the book, is section 2, painting with watercolors. And this has a collection of tutorials that again kind of demonstrate in a more, you know, like little bits and pieces my philosophy and my process. And again, the goal is to help you and inspire you to find your own process. This is something I'm really fascinated with, and I love watching other artists, you know, paint from start to finish. Of course, the artwork is also great, but many times I can be really fascinated with an artist and not necessarily connect with their finished artwork, but really connect with their philosophy and their process. And I think it's one of those things that everyone has to figure out. For me, a lot of the difficulties that I had at the earlier years of painting with watercolors was this notion that, you know, there was a certain way to paint and there were certain things you had to do, and most of these things I didn't enjoy, like, you know, prep work and sketching or printing photos or painting from photos. So it took me a long time to find my own way and kind of give myself permission to do things differently from most of the instructors that I met along the way. And I really hope that this book can be a little bit of like, give you that kind of push and that permission to do your thing and not feel like you're doing something wrong, or, you know, you're not as good as other people because you do things differently. So yeah, there's a lot in this section. I'm not going to go into like every tutorial, but I think the one that I love, there's a little bit about florals, a little bit abstract, painting from imagination, which is a big thing for me. I think my favorite is the painting in a series, which was actually, I think, one of the last things that, like one of the last tutorials that I wrote. And I just love how this tutorial turned out, and I hope you will feel inspired just like to paint and sketch and have fun with a certain subject. For me, it was a beach scene because the beach holds a special place in my heart. There are many tutorials, but that one is my favorite, so I just wanted to mention this. And then section 3 is Beyond Watercolors, and it has a few, what I think are very helpful additional tutorials, just showing you the kind of things you can do. For example, adding oil sticks and oil pastels to your watercolor, a combination that I haven't seen a lot of people use, and I think is gorgeous. And I think the paintings really benefit from that contrast. I think no two mediums can be more different than, you know, loose, watery, beautiful watercolors, and then creamy, textured oil paints and pastels. So I wanted to show you that you can absolutely use both of them. You just have to know how. And then there are some other, that's an example of how you can use a gold oil stick with your watercolor florals, which I think is just a gorgeous combination. One of the tutorials in this last section is how to make your own sketchbook. I have a video showing this on my channel, so if you prefer a video tutorial, you can find that there. But this is a very kind of easy to follow written tutorial with pictures. I sometimes prefer those, So I really wanted to include this in the book because I also think creating your own sketchbooks is something very liberating. And here is a collection of my little golden books, sketchbooks that I absolutely adore. And then that's it. There's a little bit about me here. There I am with a bit longer hair, an older photo. And a few other of my offerings that you can find, but it is really kind of jam-packed with color, with inspiration, and hopefully, you know, the gift of freedom in your watercolor journey. So I really hope you will check it out. Thank you so much to everyone that have already bought it. Thank you for your encouragement and support, and just to everyone else for being here. Whether you buy the book or not, I'm really grateful. I appreciate every comment, every like, every, you know, email that I get. I cherish all those things, and I wouldn't be here without all of you. So thank you so much. All the links to my book will be below, and I think it's a great holiday gift if you know anyone that loves watercolors. It's really, I think, a book that fits people who are, let's say, more free and rebellious in their learning process, or maybe haven't really found that, you know, joy in their watercolor journey, and they're not sure what is missing or what they're doing wrong. And yeah, I just really wanted to spread the watercolor joy and kind of show that you can do this however you want. The point is to enjoy, and not only that, I truly believe that art and the practice of art and the creative process has all kinds of beneficial effects. For me, it's therapy basically, and it's more than that, but it's definitely therapeutic. And I, you know, just wish that more people brought that into their lives, because it definitely enriches your life, and I think makes you, you know, a better person, a better functioning human being, a better mother or partner, all those things. So I'm really, really happy to finally be able to share it with you. And I'll see you soon in another video, back to painting, swatching, all those things. I have a huge haul coming next week. But I'm happy to say that I've already been heavily using all of the things that I'm going to show you in that haul, with some particularly delicious discoveries. So I hope you will join me for that video and future ones where I tell you, you know, what I discovered about these supplies and why I'm super excited about some of them. So all that is coming. I'll see you soon in another video. Take care. Bye bye.